Hello YouTube, Jeremy here. I know it's been, I think almost a month or so now, and it's been pretty crazy. I apologize for not getting more videos and content back to you guys. I know with everything else that I've uploaded, this might be one of my last videos about the Maverick. I may do one more about some wireless CarPlay I'm looking into, but I wanted to finally do my 6-month review slash 2,600 mile review for you guys. So I'll be covering several different bits and pieces, but yeah, looking forward to finally showing you what my own experience is and what to share with you guys. All right, YouTube. All right, so here you are, a nice empty parking lot. I'm just gonna cover, I've made a nice, very detailed list of things I'm gonna cover from the outside and the inside, and just kind of basically cover everything that I enjoy about it, things that I've heard that people may not be a big fan of, and just my own personal experience. I know there's already hundreds of different videos out there for everyone else's kind of ideas and perspectives of what they think. Uh, Obviously, this would be my own version. So here we go. All right, this is my XLT Alto Blue. I've gotten several requests on just trying to see what this color actually looks like out in the sun, and also in a dark shaded area. So during the sun, I love it. Nice metallic blue. It could really pops. And then obviously if it's in a shaded area, it does look black. So if you're not someone that's too flashy, but want something different other than standard black, I highly suggest the Alto Blue. I've been a big fan of it. I do get probably weekly washes, my unlimited wash club, but it's definitely something I'm a big fan of. I was kind of torn between this and going with the carbonized gray, but I am very happy that I went with the Alto Blue. Now, one thing I did see with people going through car washes, now I don't know if it's just the car wash you're using or if it was just a poor job on the decals that they were doing from the factory. But yeah, I've had probably 2 or 3 washes a week for since October, and I've never had any issues with my FX4 decal. I know others have the first edition where it has the decals on the hood itself, where it has the first edition kind of embossed in it too, which I think is kind of cool. But yeah, I have not had any issues with the decals on mine personally. Now, I'm in St. Louis, so one of the things I, not necessarily a pet peeve, but just one thing in particular from my own personal experience is the windshield itself. The windshield itself is perfectly fine. However, it does have a very large gap. I'm not sure. This is my first new vehicle in several years. I'm not used to having just this giant kind of open area. I mean, you could probably put a couple softballs in there if you wanted to. My only issue with that was when we had a bit of an ice and snow. It really had a hard buildup out down here, and it did take a day just to kind of have it, kind of defrost if you want to work from home majority of the week. So I mean, it wasn't a big deal, but whenever I'm cleaning off the windshield and really getting into those deep areas, I mean, it was just a ginormous, just big chunk of ice going all the way across. So if you do live in a colder, snowier climate, that might be just something to kind of keep an eye out for. Maybe get one of those windshield covers so you don't won't have any issues with that. But yeah, so far, that's really been the only issue that I've had, which isn't really much of an issue. That and the windshield itself. Not that it's super noticeable, but whenever you are on the highway, whenever you're going, give or take about 70 or so, this will slightly rumble a bit. Nothing to the extreme, but it wouldn't surprise me if Ford perhaps did another recall on on that. I know they just released the recall for the gasoline tanks for those who had the spray and bed liner because the holes that were drilled in for drainage. They had the recall on that. I do have the 4K tow package on this guy. So when it comes to the 7-pin, I just read that there was a recall for the trailer brake control. So if you're someone that's intending on using it for pulling very heavy trailers, um, then maximizing that 4K capacity and not relying on the vehicle itself, that there is a recall. I was told it was more of a software update that needs to be updated for the firmware. I think it still works, but it's delayed by like 3 or 5 seconds, which is obviously a pretty big safety concern. So one thing to keep an eye out for that. All right, and also if you've seen my previous videos I uploaded a few months back, um, I did do a video of just telling Maverick owners to beware about the LED bed kit, the lumen kit here. It only comes in 2 lights. When it originally came out on the website, it did advertise that it did come with 2 sets, with it was going to be a total of 4. So it should have had one light here, the other opposite light here, of course, and then another one straight across, and then one right below me here. So you should have had 4 altogether, is what was shown in the photos. I have been going back and forth with Ford and customer support and everybody else for several months, and I got absolutely nowhere. I was hoping just to get some Ford points and cover an oil change or something, but it was $200. I figure there's so many different Amazon DIY kits out there. I would highly suggest just going that route instead, because you can do that yourself and light up the entire bed for, I've seen, as little as $40. So that's definitely something I would suggest, unless you're looking for a super clean and you don't want extra wires laying around or have to worry about the adhesive or hooks for the LED lighting. Go with the lumen kits, LED lumen lights. But again, for the price, I guess it was 150. It was a $50 dealer installed option included. So to each his own. I probably wouldn't have done it if I knew going into it, if I was only getting just 2 lights. It still works well. I was just hoping for more lights in the bed. All right, and then as far as the bed cover, I do have the Backflip MX4 trifold cover. So I've been very happy with this. I mean, it's been very universal on its use. It has these extra hooks here. Again, if you've seen some of my previous videos, but I'm just going to go into detail in this video today. So if you wanted to have something large, you can just do a single fold down. The clips are underneath the bottom here. So it's latched in here. It's not going to go anywhere. And then these hooks are going to keep that in place too. So if you have something that's uneven, that's going to stick up higher, but you don't want to take this off altogether, or if you didn't want to necessarily go all the way up and block your line of sight while you're driving, and you can lock these in on both sides. Works out very well. But again, if you didn't want to block your line of sight while you're driving down the street, that may be something that's going to come into handy. In addition to that, I've had people ask me too, yes, this entire cover does come off. Uh, this side rail is going to stay as is, and it's going to have this one gear handle on the right side and the same on the left. So all you have to do is untie those by hand. That comes out, and that's going to, in a sense, release what's holding this on both ends, and this whole entire cover comes off. So I've been very happy with it. I just noticed that this metal piece, the 3M adhesive, is kind of wearing down, so I'm going to have to get some new tape on that. But again, it's been about 6 months. The other thing would be the water. I've been, not honestly, I've been fighting with it, but you can see down here, straight ahead, the some of the marks from some dry water. So it has this tube design to where it's supposed to automatically come from the top and then drain out to the side. So that's what these drain hoses are actually meant for. But anytime I've gotten, I don't want to say bad rain, but if I go to the car wash a lot, that water really pouring into it, it does seep into the sides and it will come down. It's nothing major. It does protect most of it, but again, if you have any, if you will, precious cargo in the back that you don't want getting damaged, you may want to get more of this rubber seal material and maybe just kind of go crazy with it along the edges. And here I got some as well, but you may just want to just go more and that should do the trick. But I've been very happy with it. All right, I've also had a couple other requests just really seeing how this bed extender works. So it's been super easy if you're looking at adding more capacity to your bed, or just use it in general whenever you're going to the store and just kind of keep more things contained. Very easy. I mean, if you want to get full capacity and use a flex bed to do your drywall, your plywood, all you have to do is lift this to a 45-degree angle, and it's gonna just come straight out of these latches. So it's on both sides. It's gonna go in at 45 degrees. You can do it with one hand. Whenever you put it back in, it's the same exact way. Sometimes you do have to just do a small stretch out to the side to get it in because it is more of a U shape. But yeah, if you wanted to, just one hand, 45 degrees, and comes right out. It probably weighs maybe, I'd say maybe 25-ish, maybe 30 pounds. So it's nice, encased hard aluminum, and it's very durable. I've been very happy with it. But yeah, whenever you're going to lock this in, it's going to have these two latches here. Take down my here. There we go. But it's going to have these two latches. It's going to go directly on the side of the tailgate. You hear the click. So the same gate that's going to lock in on the side bed, you're going to lock in these side latches. So whenever you're driving down the street or the highway, you're not going to have to worry about this going anywhere. As you can tell, it's attached to the gate right now. And then if you want to close it up, you're done for the day. You're just going to open up your tailgate. You're going to see that pop up. And then from there, just flip it back. Good to go. Works perfectly fine with any tonneau cover. From the inside, you're going to have about 19, a little under 20 inches. So that pretty much covers the outside. Let's go ahead and jump on the inside. All right, so to start in the back here, I do have flip this, the 4K9s back cover. I've been very happy with this. I did get it from their website because that way actually ends up saving me about almost $100 versus going directly to Ford. So if you're looking for a bed cover, backseat bench cover for anything, whether it is for your dogs, I got this more so for some of my equipment, so I don't have to worry about tearing up the back seats here. I've been very happy with it. It's got everything covered directly. If you want to open this up, it's got two zippers. It's all waterproof, so you can still pull this guy down. If you do have someone right back here, you still have access to your cup holders. Zip that back up from the top. That's going to be hard to do one-handed, so I'll do that in a second. But it also, of course, has your Velcro latches. I do have some younger kiddos, so it works well for the seats, car seats, so you can still tether that in, and it still works perfectly fine. All right, so as far as the back, the only real complaint I have is the fact that it's a bench. I know, obviously, it's a low-end budget vehicle, but if you have any car seats back here or kids, it's basically impossible to put anything else in here. I mean, you can still put things in there for emergency purposes. I have a complete moving blanket over there. I've got some car can bags so I can keep all my accessories and whatnot. I don't have to worry about putting a strange fits trash can in the middle. It just kind of looks kind of corny in my opinion. So these you can actually attach behind the headrest and keep all of your accessories, chargers, masks, whatever you need. But yeah, my only real complaint that I have is the fact that it's not a split bench. It's just all one unit. Definitely makes it hard if you have kiddos and looking at planning on using that under bench storage. One thing I did want to point out are these cubbies. I've been surprisingly satisfied, if I say so myself, with kind of just more so the design and overall kind of nooks and crannies that you can put in these things. I've just got some microfiber cloths here on this side. It actually works out pretty well if you have any like not branding anyone here, but like Armor All, like cleaning wipes, whether for windows or whatnot. It actually fits perfect in that side cubby. Obviously, you can still use it for anything else you need, as far as your iPads, laptops, what have you. But yeah, I've been very happy with those. I'm trying to keep it fairly clean, so pardon the WeatherTech floor mats down there. Next thing I wanted to touch base on were the seats down here. I know I've had some videos I've seen where it almost comes into like a wrinkle or a ripple effect. Again, I use it quite a bit for small trips. I've had it for almost 6 months, and the mileage I think I'm at a little under 2,600 right now, and I haven't had any issues. I've done some long camping trips, and it's been working perfectly fine. So no issues there, my own experience. All right, so now I'm going to talk about this again, my own personal experience. I know if you have the Lariat, my understanding is that this comes standard. But if you do have the XLT, I can't speak on behalf of the XL model. But if you do have the XLT, it only has the one power window down button option, which I know someone else is complaining about the speed of it going down and up. But I mean, it works fine. There's no issues there. Not in a hurry. Um, But yeah, in regards to the power features, all four switches, or the other three switches, I'm sorry, are all manual operation. So it does have an auto window down, but if you do want it to go up, you do have to hold it down. It does not have that auto up feature. Like I said, I believe the Lariat model does, but the XLT is not a feature. That's the only thing I wish it did. I know, again, it's a budget-friendly vehicle and truck, but that's one thing I wish it did have. All right, so the next thing I'm going to talk about is the 360 lane assist. I've had, not had, but I've heard a lot of chatter on Facebook of people not understanding or knowing how to really turn it off and on. So zoom back out. So on the side here, you're going to have this button here. So if you look, you're going to see that icon of the car in between the lanes. That's going to be your lane assist, which is controlled by that button. So if you just got your Maverick and you're like, hey, I have my my 360 Copilot, it's not working, it's because that button is not pushed in. So if it's not pushed in, it's going to look like this. It's going to show the speedometer only as far as your miles per hour or whatever your display is. This particular display is because I have the FX4, the 6-inch instrument cluster. It does come standard on the Lariat, and then also if you have the FX4, my apologies. If you do not have the FX4, it does come with your standard instrument cluster gauge. But once you hit that button on the side, you're going to see your driving lane to let you know that your lane assist is on. So if you, for whatever reason, your dealer didn't show you, um, that's going to be what that button does and how to actually turn that off and on. So if it's off like it is now, it'll just show your speed. If you push that in, you're going to see that driving lane pop up and lets you know in the top left-hand corner here if your lane assist is actually turned on. So if I was actually on the street or the highway, those would be lit up green to let me know that the lane assist is actually enabled and working. Right now it's on, but it's not working because we're sitting in a parking lot and it doesn't have any way to see any driving lanes to actually be within. So I want to make sure I cover that. All right, so in addition to the lane assist, I did want to also cover some of these menu features here. This is where you would actually enable a couple different things. So right now I'm going through my menu here on the steering wheel. So menu, up and down, OK options. So that's going to control everything here. So if you go to settings, it has your trailer sway control, driver assistance, vehicle. You can program my key if you have any kiddos or someone that you want to limit that key fob to as far as particular speeds. It's pretty cool. But in this case, if we go to driver assistance, this is where you can actually enable and disable a few different things, whether it's the driver alert, which is the lights that you would see on the side mirrors, blind spots, all that fun stuff. So in this case, if we do the lane keeping system, it also has mode. So if we select that, you can just do it to where it'll help stay in your lane, your alert features, or you can do both. So if you go back, you can also change the intensity, which is actually will start shaking the steering wheel. So if you're falling asleep at the wheel or not paying attention, you can actually change the sensitivity as far as how this actually responds to you. So if you just went on low, normal, high, that's where you would actually adjust those features. In regards to the other thing I was going to show, yeah, people are asking about the remote start. All right, sorry about that quick cut. So I did find it. So if we go to settings, underneath menu, go to vehicle, and you'll select, zoom in here, you're going to select remote start. So from here, you can have it set to where you can actually have the vehicle automatically heat or cool based on the outdoor climate. So if it already detects that hey, it's 110 degrees, we're going to turn the AC on. If it's 30 degrees and we know it's cold, if you have a luxury package, then it's going to turn on the seat warmers, the steering wheel heat, and as well as the heat inside the vehicle itself. Or you can just keep it at last setting. So whatever you had it at when you turned off the truck originally, it'll automatically kick back up with that setting. But yeah, the climate control definitely helps, especially if you're in an area that it's constantly changing heat and getting cold and whatnot. So definitely comes in handy there. All right, so one thing I want to touch base on too is the Ford Pass app when it comes to the remote start. I know that's one of the big advantages whenever you do get a Maverick, you have access to that Ford Pass app, which does enable for remote start functionality, especially if you don't have it built in on the key fob itself. However, if you do have it sit for a couple days, say if you go take it to the airport, you're on vacation, you come back and man, it's 110 degrees outside, I'm going to cool down the truck. It may go into sleep mode. So you'll actually end up finding out, it'll tell you to save battery. It basically kind of goes into slumber mode, and you don't have access to start it unless you actually start it with your key. I understand why they do it, because obviously you don't want to drain the battery and have it be on that constant waiting for a signal. But that's just one thing. It's like they advertise. I would much rather like to, not that honest when I want to say I would much rather have battery issues, but I would much rather have that functionality if I'm wanting to use it. I want it to work. So that's one thing I would just keep an eye out, especially if you do have it sit for a few days at a time. It does go into sleep mode. So that's the only thing I haven't really been a big fan of when it comes to that Ford Pass app. All right, next I'm going to talk about just briefly are the WeatherTech floor mats. I've had WeatherTech floor mats in all my vehicles. I've been a big fan of them. I don't know if it's because of the size or how they sit in the Maverick, but the only thing that I have not been a big fan of is the giant emblems. So as you can see right now, I'm sitting comfortably, and it's going to have the WeatherTech format branded logos. I mean, it's probably about 1.5 inches wide by almost 5 feet long, and it's fine. I don't care about them branding themselves, but whenever I'm sitting down, whenever I put my feet down, if I go to the side, it does go underneath where that logo is. So you do have to raise up your foot and put it on top. So, after a few months of doing that, not that it's a huge deal, because I'll just kind of find myself sliding my foot up when I'm driving and it's out of the way and kind of come back down on it. But that's been my only my only beef with the WeatherTech floor mats, and they still work great. Keeps it all easy to see, very easy to clean for the front. I have it for the back as well. But yeah, the big rubber mat that kind of divvies down to it. If you are a little bit larger guy, it is something that whenever you got your leg rested up against the armrest, it will kind of get annoying, especially with the steering wheel. You will kind of find yourself kind of always bumping in there unless you're raising it up off to the side. But that's been my only pet peeve with those floor mats. All right, next I'm going to talk about is the Thinkware Dash Cam. I know if you go to the Ford website, they do have their own basic version. It doesn't have an LED screen from what I've seen, that the one that they have advertised with their dealer installed option DIO, but it does come with, you can see over my shoulder, there's my rear cam, and then I also have the front dash cam as well. So if I'm driving, it's nice and out of the way. It's hidden by that mirror. A little bit of it sticks out. So if I wanted to do a manual recording, if I don't actually see it, uh, if it doesn't detect a hit or auto stop, I can actually hit the record button. If you can see that, it might be hard to see because of the lighting, I'm sorry. But I can do an automatic record feature, which is nice. So if I'm driving by and I see an accident that I can record and help somebody out, or if there's something going on, I can just go on there, do a auto record feature, and make sure that's covered. Whenever I do that, it always, if you do get the rear cam, it does do both. So you don't have to worry about, okay, I just passed that up. What's going on behind me? I have to turn around. If you do have a rear cam, it's going to record both of those for you. But yeah, if I ever have any issues, I can just take out my micro SD, put it in my laptop. It's going to record the speed, the location. Since I do have the GPS adapter, that was optional. And the install was super simple. I do have the OBD2 port, so I didn't have to worry about extra power like I did on my radar detector, which was simple, but I already had that wired up, so I didn't want to have two external wired accessories. So I do have the other one wired, plugged in directly to that OBD port right here. You can see the light that it's on. People are asking about battery issues. I haven't had any issues. Like I said, I've had it for a little over 3 months now, I want to say, and yeah, it's plugged in all the time. It's on standby. There's even a battery charging built into the Thinkware itself. But yeah, I've been very happy with it. I highly recommend. All right, just finishing up here. So in regards to, again, the material of the vehicle itself, the dash, I've been very happy with this. I mean, it's a little dirty. It's got these little grooves that are kind of built into it. So I've noticed that it does kind of collect a little more dust, though the way that they try to have it look like it's something it's not, even though it's just plastic. But it does have a easier time kind of collecting dust and whatnot. But aside from that, I've been very happy with it. My only other you know pet peeve, if you will, getting in and out of this truck all the time is the seatbelt. So whenever you take the seatbelt off, you let it go, goes behind your arm, retracts back to the wall here. Whenever it does that clunk, you're gonna see a handful of dings and scratches. So that's been my only issue. Um, I've done some Armor All wipes to try to clean up a little bit too. Seems to help, but yeah, just over time, that's one thing that you'll probably end up seeing, or unless you have a pad back there, just be super careful. But it kind of seems like it's inevitable that eventually that's just gonna get banged up pretty bad. All right, and just a few other things that I wanted to chat on is going to be some of the placement on this power port. I mean, I understand why. Obviously, power ports are in the front dash. I completely understand why. Obviously, I get it. But due to the concept of putting your phone down in this little, cubby, if you will, it it's sticking out in front of you. I mean, if it were me and for his design team, you really should have that USB back here to where it's hidden, it's out of the way. You're not going to have anything else. I mean, if you take away that cable and everything's nice and tidy, it's cleaned up. But once you put this and your phone in there, I mean, it just takes up more space. It's more cluttered. It If you're looking for a clean look, what I'm looking at possibly doing, I know the Lariat luxury package that does have that wireless charging pad, but it does not have wireless CarPlay. So you would still have to either get some form of wireless CarPlay adapter, or in this case, both. I know people have gotten some pieces here to where they get some wireless charging pads, hide it underneath this pad, so you just plop your phone down. And then I know there's a couple different features, devices that you can get from Amazon, and people have just kind of velcroed underneath, plugs in the USB, so it makes it nice and clean and tidy that way. But I know people have stated that it does have a bit of a delay talking from your phone to the actual stereo itself. So that's been one thing that I might be looking into, just for kind of tidying things up. But as long as you don't have a super long cable, I've got just a 12-inch 1-foot USB-C cable, which works out very well with the CarPlay. So USB-C, normal USB does work with the Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, no issues there. All right, and the last thing I'll talk about is the stereo. Now, this has been a big topic for a lot of the forum pages that I've seen on like Maverick Truck Club and whatnot. And I must say that the stereo itself, I think is good. Now, keep in mind, if you are planning on listening to music via the radio, I would say you will be disappointed. AM, FM, I think it sounds terrible. So if you're someone that's looking to, have road trips and listen to a lot of music on FM and AM, I think you'll be disappointed. I think that's where people have been stating that, the speakers are terrible, haven't had any, luck with that. But in my opinion, this stereo is designed for your Android Auto and your Apple CarPlay. So, I think the way that they were kind of designing the Maverick and the stereo itself, it's really is for the, if you will, millennials and people that are ultimately like everyday people using their smartphones, whether you're using Apple Music, your MP3s, whatever the case may be. It's definitely going to be designed for that, I must say. So if you are someone that listens to the radio, I want to say you probably will be disappointed on the sound quality, just because of as far as the reception, it's just not there. One thing I will say though is that one thing, just make sure you use your I don't say common sense, but whenever it comes to the sound, you can definitely tweak the sound quality, as far as going to go back here. Yeah, say if you are looking at doing it, just be smart about the settings. I know standard and obviously if they're basic speakers, bass isn't going to be great. But if you lower that down, bump up that treble in your mid range just a tad. I mean, with my Apple CarPlay, it sounds phenomenal. Now, if you're going to have the windows down, that's going to be a different story. But this is such a confined area that if those windows are up and you have some of these settings and the bass is lowered, it's going to be nice and loud. I mean, you keep bumping up to the maximum volume of 30, but I'll keep it at 26 or 27 with my phone plugged in, and it works very, very well. I've been extremely happy with the sound quality when it comes to both Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. That feature has been very well. All right, so I know I covered quite a bit. I know a lot of it could have been repeated from other videos. I apologize. I just wanted to do my own spin, my own experience on what I've encountered in the past several months. I know sometimes people will get their truck and they'll drive it for on a road trip for 500 miles and they do a review, and then they'll miss out some things that eventually over time is what, things that you'll pick up on that you may love or dislike. So I wanted to make sure I spent time on this video in the last several months on kind of putting my list together. The mileage, I have an XLT all-wheel drive, has the FX4 package and the 4K tow package. When it comes to the mileage, I do a lot of towing. Not it's heavy towing, but it's with a 5x8 trailer. Usually it's maximum maybe 2,000 pounds, so nothing too crazy. But with towing that, usually my miles per gallon, it seems to be around 20. If I do a lot of city driving, this thing's fun to drive. I'm not gonna lie, I do go pretty quick with it. I've been averaging a little under 20 miles an hour city, and highway I've been getting give or take 31, 32 miles per gallon, keeping it consistently around 70, 75. So highway's been very good, but again, if it's fun to drive. I've been very happy with it. Now, when it comes to just the diversity of what this thing can do, uh, I think it's great. If you have any little ones, I said that aside from the car seat and using the under bench storage, that's really my only complaint. If you are a family that has older kids involved, or they're 16s or teens in general, it may get cramped in here pretty quick. It may not be a practical road trip vehicle, but if it's just, yourself and someone else, or, three people, it works out great. There's still plenty of legroom in the back. But if you have, four grown adults in here, probably wouldn't recommend going on a road trip with that many people unless they're very tiny and don't take up a lot of space. But I've been very happy with that. Aside from that, that's pretty much wraps up this video. I may, as I said, do another video in the next month or two with some wireless CarPlay features, because I'm kind of intrigued on what I might be able to modify with that. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed the videos, because I know there'll be far and few between from this point forward. But if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully anyone that has their Maverick on order, they can get it soon and not have to worry about a 23 model. Cheers.